The poll bugle sounded. The battle lines are drawn. The big guns are booming.
मंच पर पहुंच चुके हैं.
5 states set to go to polls. It was a super Monday for the BJP. The launch of its campaign-in-chief, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, in 2 poll-bound states, Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan.
आने वाले 5 वर्ष के लिए जहां फिर से भाजपा सरकार बने, पूर्ण बहुमत की स्थिर भाजपा सरकार बने, मैं साफ देख रहा हूं राजस्थान में अब परिवर्तन होके रहेगा.
In both states, it is the Prime Minister's face poised to be on the ticket. Will not announcing Shivraj Vasundhara as CM face backfire for the BJP? With Prime Minister in Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan, Rahul Gandhi sounded the poll bugle in Chhattisgarh, once again pushing for caste census, eyeing the OBC vote.
नरेंद्र मोदी जी से पूछा कि आप कास्ट सेंसस से डरते क्यों हो? कास्ट सेंसस का डेटा सबके सामने रख दो. जो आपकी सरकार की सच्चाई है, आप हिंदुस्तान की जनता को दिखा दो.
2 days ago, when asked on the Congress prospects in 5 states, Rahul Gandhi had said, I would say right now we are probably winning Telangana. We are certainly winning Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh. Rajasthan, we are closing the gap. 5 states going to polls, an election campaign that promises to be on steroids. Let the games begin. And viewers, the games have truly begun. The Prime Minister, the star campaigner of the Bharatiya Janata Party in 2 election-bound states. Also Rahul Gandhi in Chhattisgarh. It's just a month and a half and it is going to be an election on steroids. Already, Rahul Gandhi has claimed that the Congress party is going to win 2 of the 5 states. One of them probably, and the other one, they're closing the gap, of course, nothing where Manipur was concerned. So let's take it now to our political panelists in terms of what to expect in the days to come. Shazia Ilmi, National Spokesperson, Bharatiya Janata Party. Matthew Anthony, National Spokesperson, Congress. Ratan Sharda, author, analyst. Rashid Kidwai, senior journalist. Before we cut across to our political analyst, Rashid Kidwai, you know, a little presumptuous, Rashid Kidwai, to say we are already, ruling the narrative. We are going to win in near about 3 states. 1 state, we've closed the gap.
Yes, on the part of Rahul Gandhi, yes. But, Preeti is known to be, kind of quite candid. I remember 2 months ago when there was a politician from Maharashtra called in the Congress party office and there was a meeting. There he had declared that they're going to win Telangana, which a lot of people found it very surprising. And no leader would say that, you're closing gap in Rajasthan. I believe Rajasthan Chief Minister Ashok Gehlot is a little offended by that because he would go on and all political leaders go on claiming till the last breath, till the last voted cast that they're going to win. So I think Rahul Gandhi is proving to be unconventional. But I want to draw your attention towards, Prime Minister when he's talking so much and traveling towards, Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan. He's not talking about the 2 key people there, that being Shivraj Singh Chauhan and Vasundhara Raje Chauhan. I mean, Vasundhara Raje Scindia. I heard him. He did not even mention Shivraj Singh Chauhan by name even once. So, which is very surprising because if you have double engine sarkar, you may be talking about the engine, whether the engine is local made or whatever. So, he's trying to gloss over their failures and, putting his personal prestige at stake.
Mm-hmm. But Rashid Kidwai, and let's cut across to Ratan Sharda, by what you're saying is glossing over their failures and putting his name on the ticket. Some would even suggest that possibly, that's contrarian to what is going on ground. Maybe announcing the face of Vasundhara Raje or even a Shivraj Chauhan could help the Bharatiya Janata Party. Ratan Sharda. You're on mute, Ratan Sharda.
So sorry. Okay. So my point was that if you look at a few months back, how Modi ji traveled over Madhya Pradesh and presented Shivraj ji as the national leader of Madhya Pradesh, we should not read too much about what is he saying today. Whether he's calling Shivraj Singh as the person in leading MP or not. In Rajasthan, of course, we know the trouble with BSc. There is nothing to gloss over, and the election will be fought in the name of Modi ji, because I believe BJP has outstanding chance in Rajasthan because of misgovernance and mutual, fight between the Congress leaders. So naturally, BJP will try to put its best foot forward. To my mind, this is not the real issue. Real issue is the test for IND alliance. What will IND alliance do? Will Congress let go some seats for their alliance partners? This is the biggest question, because this will be the acid test for Congress to prove that it is ready to accommodate minor parties, because these are also the states that will give it maximum seats, whether in this election or in Lok Sabha election. So real test of IND alliance begins now in these 4 elections. That's my view.
But, what are those parties that you're talking about? In a state like Rajasthan, in a state like Madhya Pradesh, Congress has been the primary opposition. Who will they accommodate? Because there is no need to accommodate anyone. But having said that, we'll come back to you, Ratan Sharda. Give me a minute.
AAP is fluttering its flags, yeah.
But fluttering your flag, AAP was fluttering its flag in Karnataka. Also, it lost deposit on all seats. But I'll bring in Shazia Ilmi into this conversation. Shazia Ilmi, at least in terms of where the you're on mute, Shazia Ilmi, you're on mute. But where the Congress comes into question, yes, we can hear you. Oh. But where the Congress comes into question, you had a very confident Rahul Gandhi, who's already said that in all probability winning in 3 states and closing the gap in Rajasthan.
Ignorance is bliss for some people, and let's leave it at that, because he's not known to make very mature and politically astute comments at all, even disregarding the feelings of his own people, his own important leaders, as he just did in Rajasthan. But I just want to tell you that, AAP might be fluttering the flag high, and it did yield them nothing in Karnataka, and we know how it worked out in Himachal. But in Gujarat, they did manage something, right? And in Goa also, whatever little they could. So the fact of the matter is that this is the unity of the opposition, that they are thinking of both Samajwadi Party and are planning to have candidates in Madhya Pradesh, and they have declared that, which is something they have to look at and also review their so-called India alliance. But Preeti, having said that, Prime Minister said a lot of things. What is common to both the rallies is the talk of bimaru states, which exactly was this coinage of this term comes from Ashish Bose, because whether it was Bihar or Uttar Pradesh or Rajasthan or Madhya Pradesh, they were called bimaru. But look at where they are now. I mean, if you as far as Rajasthan is concerned, I think it's enough to talk about law and order and how badly Ashok Gehlot has messed it up, and corruption. But just look at Madhya Pradesh, where it was. And Amit Shah actually presented a report 2003-2023. You just look at the figures in terms of alleviation of poverty, in terms of Ayushman Yojana. So everywhere, wherever we go, it will be the Labharti, the beneficiary, that as a chief voting constituent, so to speak, as opposed to different castes and different religions and the same old identity politics that Congress party will do. We remember, do you remember what Kamal Nath did last time? He actually, in the last Vidhan Sabha elections, he actually said, all the Muslims will have to get together and vote for me, otherwise we'll lose it. So I don't think BJP ever has to resort to anything like that, because work speaks for itself. And those are real hardcore figures that we have in terms of development.
Keeping in mind, if it's a state of Madhya Pradesh, it's nearly 92.6% Hindu population. So even the vote of the Muslim is negligible in a state like Madhya Pradesh. And having said that, we tend to forget the mandate did go to the Congress the last time. And, what happened then... And it did go to the Congress the last time. What happened?
That is your extrapolation, not mine. That because they're all Hindus, they should only be voting for BJP. That is in your mind. I never even stated that. I talked about Labharti and beneficiaries.
No, madam. Nothing is in my mind.
Nothing is in my mind. And Hindus as beneficiaries are concerned. When you elevate 1 crore 36 lakh people in Madhya Pradesh alone out of poverty, many of them are Muslims also. And they come from across the spectrum, economic, religious, social.
Matthew Anthony.
So that's the point I was making.
Matthew Anthony, a bit of overconfidence. You know, you're still a month and a half away from elections. You are stating you're ruling the narrative right now, but there's a lot of loose ends that you still need to tie in states like Madhya Pradesh, in states like Rajasthan, in states like Telangana, Chhattisgarh even.
Preeti, let me put the thoughts across on the confidence. We have got the privilege to serve the people of India for long. And from the history onwards, you know, let's start from the women reservation bill. It was we who did that in 1989 and 1993. We passed the women reservation bill for the local self-governance. 15 lakh women are the 40 lakh women are the representatives across the country in the local self-governance part of it. The Right to Information Act, done by Congress in 2005. Right to Education, done by Congress in 2009. The National Food Security Act in 2013, done by Congress. The Lokpal and the Lokayukta Act.
Matthew Anthony, get up and smell the coffee, no? Right now you do know 53 Lok Sabha MPs in your last election. Yes, please make your point, sir.
Allow me to complete.
Yes,
so
please.
I am putting a figure, I am putting facts against the false promises and narratives from Narendra Modi from 2014 onwards. It was there in their manifesto that they will give the women reservation from 2014 and 2019. And now they have come up with a bill, God knows when the women reservation will come. And then the 15 lakh money, you know, and then Amit Shah is saying that, no, it was just a false promise.
Okay.
What? No, are you lying?
Matthew Anthony, what does this have to do with this? Okay, Matthew Anthony, what does this have to do at all with the 5 states that are coming up for election?
Allow me to
make your point, sir.
So, you know, yeah, I'm coming to the point. So, you know, with a set of false promises, equaling to not less than a corruption, you know, by fooling the people have realized, you know, look at the Karnataka right now. We have started delivering the promises. And the central government tried to kind of, you know, withhold the money for the RISE scheme. We started giving the money. The free bus travel promise has been delivered. The gas.
All right. I want to cut across back. I want to cut across back to Rashid Kidwai. Rashid Kidwai, you know, one can safely suggest that we are following the model of Karnataka. And we ran the narrative there. We are going to do so in other states. You know, the political geography map, whatever cliche you want to use to, on it, in a state like Madhya Pradesh, in a state like Chhattisgarh, in a state like Rajasthan is very different. And I'll give you an example. Because the entire Sanatan Dharm controversy has led to a fact, and you and I both know, Mr. Kidwai, better, that Mr. Kamal Nath is wary of this big opposition rally that was to take place in Madhya Pradesh.
Yes, Preeti, and so that's why it's not taking place. So, Mr. Kamal Nath, when it comes to, his political campaign, he's very sure-footed. He is in Madhya Pradesh. He is also being, a bit of a, Hindu-wadi thing, voting majority community in a very big way. And his entire campaign revolves around, it's a very kind of autonomous in the sense, there is no central intervention on the part of, Gandhi's or Mallikarjun Kharge or so. Whereas in contrast, if you look at the BJP campaign there, it's very highly centralized. As I keep repeating, Shivraj Singh Chauhan is nowhere in picture. There are 7 central ministers who are managing it, then Mr. Amit Shah and Prime Minister Modi or so. The elections are fought on very local issues, localized issues. You say, the urban Naxals, as Prime Minister has said today, it may not find any traction in Madhya Pradesh. Madhya Pradesh is a very OBC state. Over 50% of population is OBC. The issue there is about women reservation, why there is no quota within quota, and the way Congress is projecting it. So these are the complex realities on the ground. I think what the top leadership of both political parties are doing, they are just talking, in a very abstract, in a big way. Whereas people want to have, I keep saying, the cash and delivery method that works in the elections.
All right, Ratan Sharda, the sheer fact that the Congress is at least doing is that they've understood that it's the local leadership who's going to pull the gig in states like Rajasthan and a state like Madhya Pradesh, keeping in mind with what we were just discussing. A rally which was supposed to be held of the India Alliance in Madhya Pradesh stands cancelled because Kamal Nath said, not happening. But on the contrary, Ratan Sharda, to have the Prime Minister's face on the ticket in all states that are going into election without naming a chief ministerial face, because you have strong leaders in the face of a Vasundhara Raje or, even a Shivraj, but you have local leadership, which is, would you reckon, completely ignored with what went down in Karnataka? To bring in Yediyurappa in the last minute was too late in the day?
Well, what happened in Karnataka is very different from what is happening in Rajasthan and Madhya Pradesh. The leaders of Rajasthan and Madhya Pradesh are recognized as very well-established leaders. They have given good leadership, except the last hiccup of Scindia, and that will not appear this time because Gehlot has hurt himself very badly. In Chhattisgarh, for example, what will happen to JMM and Congress alliance? What will happen to Hemant Soren's corruption case? And if you talk of women's reservation bill being a false promise, what did Congress do for so many years? What did it deliver in terms of women's bill? The same alliance partners who are today with them tore up the bills. They stopped the bill from being passed. And Hamid Ansari was crying sitting on the speaker's table saying that I can't help it. These are the people who have come together now. And at least the bill has been passed, it will be implemented sooner or later because it is promised on the constitution, nothing less, nothing more. And secondly, when you talk of these deliveries, are we going to have entire political spectrum going for freebies and that will ultimately bankrupt the states? That's a serious issue where today or tomorrow we'll hit these people in the face. It is very easy to keep on borrowing and celebrating those freebies to the people without any proper conditions or filters. And that is a real danger. And about Naxals, has Naxalism not reduced in Chhattisgarh or Jharkhand? It's a fact. And on one side, Rajasthan has worst record of women crimes against women, and you have reservation bill from
all right. Okay, Ratan Sharda, I don't understand what is the fact on urban Naxals, because one still grapples with what the terminology is, so I don't understand what's factual about it. But I want to cut across.
Urban Naxal. I talked about Naxals. I didn't talk about urban Naxals.
Okay. My bad, sir, because I heard urban Naxals, which what was used today. I apologize on that account. But Shazia Elmi, I'll bring you in. Is the problem with the BJP also to have the Prime Minister on the ticket because there's enough infighting in either states? Because you have a Shivraj Singh Chauhan, you have a Jyotiraditya Scindia, you have a Narottam Mishra, and you have Mr. Tomar, where a state like Madhya Pradesh is concerned. And a similar dynamic where you have leaders who want to claim space like Gajendra Shekhawat, like Mr. Satish Punia, or even Mr. Rathore, where Rajasthan comes into question.
So this is it. You spelled it out, Preeti. Look at the level and stature of our state leaders. And then also look at which is really high. These are stalwarts. And then look at the leader of a prime minister who works really hard and goes from state to state, district to district, 24/7. He's there for the people. Just look at what the opposition is contending with. Look at the Congress party. They have
ma'am, you also know better. It might be, the faces might be very big, Miss Ilmi, but they don't quite. You and I both know better that a Narottam Mishra is not very fond of a Jyotiraditya Scindia, who's not very fond of a Narendra Tomar. Go ahead.
That's what I'm saying. But I didn't even finish saying what I was saying. You cut me short.
Please go ahead.
What I'm saying is essentially there you have Ashok Gehlot and Sachin Pilot, and who do we have at the level of center for Congress party? You know who we have, and we know the statements he makes, and we know the capability of the Congress party and the track record in handling all of these infights, and we also know the track record of Bharatiya Janata Party, of the team, central team and the state teams, as to how they handle with whether it's infighting, which would be in every party everywhere, but how to deal with it and how to make sure that there is no damage done to the people and the will of the people when it comes to delivery. And it is only delivery. It is only delivery.
But Ms. Ilmi, the jury is still out on that. We'll know when that last vote is counted and if the BJP comes to power in these states and then what comes by. We'll only know then. But Matthew Anthony, there's a fair point. To use somebody like Narendra Modi, the Prime Minister of the country, he's the campaigner-in-chief. You can't contend with that.
It's a desperate attempt. It failed in Karnataka. So what else I have to say on that one? He was the chief campaigner in Karnataka. What happened there? And people are realizing the double engine as the destroyer of this country when they see the Manipur thing happening in front of them. It's not happening in a secrecy or in private. It's happening in front of everybody.
Madam, let him speak. No, let's not interrupt. Come on. Okay, can I just get Matthew Anthony to make his point? Mr. Anthony, please make your point.
No, I don't want to counter Shazia here because for the fact that I strongly disagree with her on many of the points, but since we are in an India alliance, I will air the.
Can I just get Mr. Anthony?
Congress leaders talk about that.
Can I just get Mr. Anthony? Mr. Anthony, make your point.
Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead, sir. Make your point.
I don't want to get into a verbal combat with Shazia here because we respect the fact that we are in an alliance together. I have strong disagreements with her views on many things which she has posted here or which she has made a remark here. But I will do that in a private space, rather than putting it in public, because I respect the India alliance in which we all are talking to each other. We say that the Congress agreements, we all are talking in public, and there are kind of, disagreements which have been talked
Matthew
to.
Anthony,
The conflicts
what
have been-
alliance do you
the
have with
conflicts have been
Shazia Ilmi, which you
resolved.
talk in private?
No,
What is the...
I'm saying, that in India Alliance, they are also a partner. I don't have an alliance with her, but, in India Alliance, we are talking with AAP also is there. So I don't want to kind of, air my disagreements with her in the public. That's very clear. I have my strong disagreements.
Preeti, that was a
I have my
debate
strong
of-
But sir,
disagreements
you're
on
the
each and every point which is
spokesperson.
there.
You're coming in to represent the Congress as a spokesperson. You should
Yes,
be able
that's-
to publicly say what's your take where the Aam Aadmi Party is concerned.
I'm taking the view that the Aam Aadmi Party is not clean. That has come out, with very clear examples in Punjab and Delhi
Okay.
governance also. There are so much of corruption allegations, which I don't want to go into detail for the reasons which are specified. So
Okay.
I'm coming to the fact that
I'm
Narendra
going to
Modi,
end
the
the
chief
show on that
campaigner,
note.
Narendra Modi, the chief
I've
campaigner,
run
has
terribly
failed.
out of time. But Matthew Anthony, anyway, we're going to let it rest. Thank you all, four of you, for joining us.